Last week I talked about the 7 steps in the process of being free. To be free so that we can celebrate our recovery, I believe there were 7 steps that a person could go through, and they are a combination of different models of therapy, different models of recovery programs. Like I've used the steps 1 to 3 from the AA 12-step program to emphasize the need to surrender, to be aware and recognize and then surrender to God's will. And at step 3, it says to surrender your will to God's will. I've also included in the 7 steps the step 12 of AA, which says, now that I've had this spiritual awakening, I can take this message to other people. You'll notice that AA uses the phrase a spiritual awakening. That's why the program that I've put forward in terms of 7 steps are a belief-based program rather than being thinking-based or using a person's willpower to try and change. The brain is not the sole organ of the body that's involved in bringing change. I believe we are made up of body, soul, and spirit. And so our belief system is very important. The change that I've emphasized when I'm explaining the 7 steps last week is the change comes by replacing a belief that is wrong, that is actually a lie, and it doesn't cause the person any goodness as a result of it, replacing that with a belief that is the truth and that is right for them and will bring good consequences. I've also mentioned that we need to use our mouths to confess and speak out what's in our heart. We need to tell another person, we need to speak out to God, we need to confess with our mouths what's happened in our hearts. And then, as we've done that confession, we then can take action and bring about the new behaviours. Today I want to talk about this concept to be free, to celebrate recovery. It's not behaving freely and taking no responsibility. Some people think that I just want to be free so that I can do what I want to do. And I don't want the responsibility of thinking about other people or thinking about the community or society. Responsibility is made up of 2 words. It's made up of response and then the word ability. The ability to respond rather than react. This week I saw a documentary on YouTube called American Nomads. And it was about the different people that travel around North America, enjoying and wanting to enjoy the lifestyle of being free. It even had many retired people who were using motorhomes to enjoy the freedom of not having responsibility for their children or their grandchildren, enjoying the chance to be free to do what they wanted to do. I suppose because they've spent 65 years having to take responsibility for other people, and now is the chance to enjoy their own freedom. But the program also had quite a few other individuals who were taking no responsibility for the society, for community needs, and other family needs. It's appeared at times to be very selfish, that I want to just go out and do my own thing. That's not what I understand to be free is about. To be free is to be able to respond to others' needs. Now that I am free from being dictated to by my own needs, instead of feeling dictated and empowered and trapped and stuck with having to meet my own needs all the time, or what I perceive as my needs, I've now dealt with that situation and I have the freedom to be able to think and act on other people's needs and be aware of what the community needs may be or what society's needs may be. So response ability means taking the responsibility for myself and taking the responsibility of others and what that might mean. We don't just leave the society to say, well, you look after yourself. I've come to find a spiritual answer and I'm free now to do what I want to do. Or now that I'm old enough and I've paid my dues, I can go off and do my own thing. I don't have to be responsible for my family. No, it's the ability to respond and to take some responsibility to meet the needs of others in our community. I'd like to just share a thought about how to manage emotions in this process of living in the being free way of life. Managing emotions so that we can know how our belief system affects our feelings and our thinking, and in turn is going to affect our behaviours. We all have emotions, and emotions come from our belief system, and they come as a result of certain things that happen in the society or our environment, and certain things happen to us, and we usually react, and when usually these triggers go off, and our reactions cause us to do certain behaviours, because the behaviours come from our feelings, and our feelings are based on our belief about what's just happened to us. There is a way of dealing with this, though, and it's the process of being mindful that these triggers, these feelings, have come from a particular belief that we have about what's just happened to us. And so the emotions that result from that belief system then will control our reactions and our behaviour. It's good to pause, it's good to learn to stop and to say, let me reinterpret what's just happened for me. Now that this event has happened to me, these triggers have gone off, perhaps I can think about what I really believe about this and come up with a new belief about why they might have happened and what the situation is. And I could bring in a new belief about it in this reinterpretation process. And then, of course, I may be able to have a better reaction to, even not a reaction, but I might be able to respond after some time in a more appropriate way. This is taught in one of the programs that I like to explain to people on emotional regulation, which has 9 steps of how to be involved in this process of recognizing what's going on around about me and how I can learn to respond rather than react, and how I can replace a belief about that thing that happened in the community with a belief that brings about a better response and which has better consequences and has new behaviours. So the 7 steps that I've outlined to be able to enjoy being free is centrally a spiritual belief, and it's essentially one of taking responsibility for my own situation and how I will respond to what happens in the environment in preference to reacting to what's happened to me in the environment. And I believe that is becoming more mature and more responsible so that I can enjoy my freedom, celebrate my recovery, and be able to help meet the needs in my society and my local community.